Grandma. Hey, Grandpa.
Okay, kids, the basement is all yours.
Lights on, shirts on, and no dancing.
No dancing. You're like the guy from Footloose. No dancing, you guys.
Tell me your name and the character that you play.
My name is Ren Doi, and I play the character of Ozzy.
Let me tell you, he is so fun. He's so fabulous. But I love, because the 90s were very touch and go when it came to having a gay friend in the group, having one that was open, where you just kind of talked about it. What was it like kind of going into this character knowing that it was set in that time frame?
When I rehearsed and practiced for Ozzy, the character, I never thought at first he's gay. I thought about his other characteristics, and then I brought into account that he is actually gay. And to be able to represent him in the 90s, I feel very honored.
Yeah. Well, you do such a fun job, but we got to talk about the Canadian boyfriend.
Yes.
Was it Bernard St. Bernard? What was his name?
Etienne.
Etienne.
But he loves St. Bernard's, though.
There we go.
Yeah.
But he has a frisson bichou.
Yes, Bichon Frise.
Yes. Oh my God, I love it. Are we going to see Etienne or hear more about him, experience him?
Ozzy loves to talk about him, so I'm pretty sure he'll continue to talk about him for the rest of his life.
I love it, and yet seems to hate the designer, the Nikki story about her cousin designing. No, Ozzy has his likes and his dislikes, and he's very opinionated. So if he doesn't like something, he'll say it, and you'll know. Yeah. But I love that we also have that vulnerability, and we actually see an interesting relationship form with Kitty. Tell us kind of about that.
Well, when the writers wrote the episode, the writer who wrote it was actually part of the LGBTQ plus community. So when we wrapped the episode that Friday night, she told me, "Thank you for telling my story." And when she said that, I just felt so happy and just kind of emotional. And just to be able to just tell the story in general was really, really a good time.
Well, it sounds amazing. First of all, we love doing Barb and Star. And from Barb and Star, from Vista Del Mar to Wisconsin. What's that journey been like? Exactly.
We went from the south to the north.
How did you hear about the role originally?
Barb and Star? This one. Well, my managers had sent me the audition, and they said, "Look, if you feel comfortable doing this, we'll submit you on it, and you can film it." And I said, "Why would I not feel comfortable? Of course. I have no issue playing a gay character." So I did it, and then I was actually filming a Netflix film in Atlanta at the time, so I was in a hotel. And so we had to kind of be creative, and so I was like, "Okay, what do? We have to do the callback." So we did it in the bathroom. And because I want to make sure the camera matches my face, so we use an ice bucket. But that bathroom gave me good luck. Yeah.
That is a fantastic story, and you are a fantastic character, a fantastic actor. So, Leia Tatooine Foreman. Yes. Well, I'm Team Eric on this one. I think it adds character.
I can respect that.
Tell us all about what you love most about Leia.
What I love most, oh my goodness, I think she really takes advantage of her situation, and she's really trying to make a better life for herself, and you can totally see that, and I love that about her. She's very brave and just wanting to stay in Point Place, and I love that about her.
Now, how did you become aware of the show?
So I got the audition from my agent manager, and I didn't really know about that 70s show beforehand, but I started watching it through the audition process, and I fell in love with it.
Well, I am so glad that it went through. I think you have such a wonderful presence, and it is the perfect combination of Eric and Donna. What was it like kind of putting together that personality?
Oh my goodness, it was a little bit difficult for me because I didn't want Leia to just be like a carbon copy of Eric or Donna. I wanted her to obviously have mannerisms from her parents because she's obviously her parents' daughter, but I wanted her to be her own character. So I kind of formed from the script, formed circumstances, and kind of formed who she was based off of what I was given.
One thing I love about it is there's so much diversity, not just ethnically, but along sexual identity and gender identity, the whole shebang. What's it like to be on set?
Oh, it's amazing. It's such a supportive environment, and I also really love that. I really love how they're not afraid to just really represent everyone, and I'm very appreciative.
And for you, what is it that makes that 90s show stand out?
Oh my goodness. I think it's really a really accurate representation of kids today. Even though it's set in the 90s, I really hope that a lot of teens today will be able to relate to it. And I think that definitely stands out. We're all kids playing kids and just having fun, and I hope people really love it.
Fabulous. Well, I can't wait for more people to see it. Congratulations. So, we had that 70s show, and you became everybody's mom, the iconic Kitty Foreman. When they called you about that 90s show, what were your initial thoughts?
Initially, I was very excited to be Kitty Foreman again and to live in her world. I was a little nervous because I knew expectations would be really high. Still a little nervous, but we have the same people back. Like, everybody's back. So I just thought, how can this not work? Of course it's going to work. The premise is really good. The kids are outstanding. And we've just added to the family because we have the other people too, you know? So I'm very excited. I'm very excited. I have not seen a lot of it. I will see it tonight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, we were talking about your moment together. Tell us just about filming that.
Oh, it was so good. I mean, and especially we were able to film in from our live studio audience.
Oh, yes.
And just Deborah Jo here, she is just such the best.
He's my little guy. He's my guy.
Yeah, and you know,
Yeah.
she calls me Pumpkin.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I know.
So how was it for you being able to kind of have that role where you get to be kind of that support system?
It was lovely. It was actually those moments, those grounding moments, are part of what make our show special, I think, you know. And we're able to deal with things that are happening in that decade, you know, because it's a period show. So,
What I also love is that Kitty, we get normal Kitty, we get the flipped up hairdo and everything, but there's a little more there. We have a little sauciness, a little, you know, every now and again it comes up. How was
secret drinking and smoking. That's what I like.
just
Yeah.
off camera?
It makes her human. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, we absolutely love it. So, Red in that 70s show becomes the cantankerous uncle that we all know and love. Now we have Red in that 90s show. Are we going to get a softer Red?
Sometimes. But other times you get just as hard, maybe harder, especially when they mess with his flannel shirts, you know.
Well, we see that you get a special friend in the form of a new chair that softens you up a little bit. How fun was it shooting those scenes?
Oh, it's great. Yeah, it's the whole thing has been great. It's great every day, you know. It's a wonderful cast. The kids are great. We just have fun.
Yeah. Well, what do we have to look forward to from Red for the season?
Let's see. Well, primarily it's first not wanting to deal with the kids and then beginning to deal with them, especially his granddaughter. And we really see a softer side of him with her, you know.
And when it came to working with the kids, what was that like?
Oh, these kids are really talented, all of them. And they have great work, what's the word?
Habits, ethic.
Ethic, a great work ethic.
Yes.
Yeah, they're there on time all the time. They don't mess around, but they have fun, and you just suck that up from them, you know, all that youth and excitement.
Well, I know a lot of them are fairly new and novices in the industry. Did you find yourself passing down any advice to them?
No, I didn't really have to. You know,
They were on it.
They knew what they're doing. We have a really good director who does that. I just get to relax and enjoy working with him, you know.
I love Nate, and I love Nate and Nikki. There is this innocence about him, and he's so sweet. What is it that you love about Nate?
I mean, the same thing. I just love how happy he is, and he takes life as it comes, and I love they wrote it down in the character description. Takes life as it comes, usually with a big smile, and I feel like if I can do a little bit of that, then I'm happy with it.
Tell me about the relationship with Nikki and kind of what we'll see within the first season of them.
Well, I mean, I think Nate and Nikki are a very funny couple because, they're a little mismatched. Nikki's this very driven, very smart person, and Nate is just sort of like the classic jock, but, not a bully, which is nice. And I think they complement each other in a lot of ways, and they're just very sweet towards each other, which is really nice to see sort of a healthy relationship on screen. It's cool. Yeah.
I like that you mentioned that he's a jock but not the bullying type, because there is a very sweet side, and he has a sister that's a person of color. He has friends that are LGBTQ and the whole shebang. What was it like to kind of portray someone that's kind of multifaceted like that?
Well, I mean, I feel like it was so rewarding to see that reflected in a piece of media about the 90s too. And I think it relates to me to that 70s show. They always would tackle these modern day topics and points of discussion through the light of the 90s. And I feel like they did a really great job of doing that in this show as well. And it was just really cool to be a part of. Yeah.
Well, what do we have to look forward to in Nate's journey for this season?
Ooh, well, I don't want to spoil too much, but there's definitely a lot of growth with him. And, I think he has some interesting storylines. He gets into some shenanigans. The only thing I'll say is there's one scene with a hot tub that you don't want to miss.
I wouldn't expect anything less. Sam, Nikki is so fun. She's such a sweet character. Tell us what your favorite thing about her is.
She takes no BS. She calls it how she sees it, and she doesn't even have to say anything. You can see it on her face, and I love it about her.
Tell us about the relationship with Nate.
She has this exasperated love for him because she is so smart, and he's got like this lovable dopiness about him that she just can't help but fall in love with.
Well, he is very lovable. You two are the cutest couple. What was it kind of like playing this couple? Is this, now tell me, do you have a lot of experience? Just TV acting wise?
TV acting? No, this is my first project. I actually submitted through the open call. I had no agent, no manager, nothing. I was just kind of like, oh, I'm gonna send in an introduction video to this thing, see where it goes, probably nowhere. And like, here I am.
Well, sometimes it's that naivety that makes you so appealing, and I love that we have so many fresh faces and so much diversity. What's it like being on set?
It's honestly incredible being on set because I'm also surrounded by kids my age, and the second that we met each other, we just fell into like this friend group rhythm. So we didn't really have to try for that chemistry. It was already there, and I consider these people some of my closest friends already, and it's incredible.
Well, what do we have to look forward to from Nikki for this season?
To look forward to, she is just a firecracker, and she takes no BS, and she's very focused. She's so smart, and I can't wait for you all to meet her.
Your character, she is a character, to say the least. She's got a lot of personality. Tell us, I heard you telling the other outlet, but you said that there was a line that may have got cut where Red described her.
Yes, yeah, I think it got cut, but originally there was a line where Red said, "Kitty, I just opened the door and it ran right in." That sums it up.
I love it, and it's funny because it really does, and we see that Sherry's a little more connected with everything than we think. What was it like kind of jumping into this new show?
It was just so exciting. It's really difficult when you read something that you want badly. I hate it. It's just terrible, and I had to self-tape it and just, let it go. But I was like, I want it. They should just give it to me. I'm from Wisconsin. I know this person. But yeah, it worked out really well.
The little accent took me down. I was like,
that's my actual accent. I worked for years to kill that accent, and now I feel like I'm free again.
Exactly. I'm free to be me, and I love it.
My dad's from Fargo.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm from Nebraska.
You are?
So
You get it.
So that Midwest.
Yeah. Same mentality.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just be nice.
Yeah. So, were you a fan of the original of that 70s show?
Yes, I was.
So, we're now in that 90s show.
Yeah.
And I'm loving the hype ponies. I'm loving the blonde highlights and everything. What's your favorite part about Sherry, style like 90s wise, and then just kind of in general?
Well, I think style-wise, and I give credit to Deborah Jo Rupp because she's the one who came in and said that Sherry's hair should look like she's just barely keeping it together. So there's a scrunchie and that's it. And I love that about Sherry. I love that. So it's just mostly just my natural hair.
She does kind of seem a work in progress.
Yeah. And is okay with that. She's okay with that. Yeah. Like I have a hard time with that in my real life, but Sherry's like, whatever.
Exactly. Let's just keep it moving. Yeah. So what do we have to look forward to from her for this season?
From this season, let's see. We know she's got a situation with Wilmer, with Fez.
So good.
So good. And I think she's just getting more and more connected to Kitty and Red, which is also really great. Yeah.
Tell me your name and the character that you play.
I play Gwen Runk, and my name is Ashley Ofterhide. I should have done that the other way around.
It was perfect. Gwen is it was actually perfect because Gwen is such a firecracker. She plays by her own rules. Tell us what you love most about her.
I like to say that Gwen's like my alter ego because she's so fiery, rebellious, intense, confident. She's such a leader. I mean, she's everything that I want to be, I guess. So it's so cool to be able to play a character like that. Like, she totally inspired me, even though I played her, which is ironic.
Yeah. Well, I think you're closer to her than you think. Yes. Now, was there anything about Gwen that maybe wasn't on the script or on the page, but when you looked at her, you said, I want to put this into her?
That's actually such a good question because when I originally got the character description when I was auditioning, she was described as a petite powerhouse with pink hair, and I don't have pink hair, and I'm not really petite either.
Yeah.
And once I submitted my audition, they were like, ooh, we sort of like your energy. Like, you have an upbeat, like, sort of bubbly vibe that isn't necessarily associated with, like, being a riot girl or punk, you know? And they thought, okay, like, we like that. Like, that's another side to Gwen. And so I guess I sort of infused that into the character.
Well, you know, I love that because I am a child of the 90s. And
lucky!
Yeah,
You're so lucky!
It had its ups and downs, but I will say, and I'm from the Midwest, and we didn't get a lot of like riot punk girls. We got those people that were kind of in between and kind of found their own way. Tell us what we have to expect from Gwen for the season.
For the season, well, Gwen definitely has a lot of layers to her. Like, at the beginning, she's just like a riot girl, like super punk, really rebellious, like I don't know if there's a specific word to describe it, but then you sort of see like why she acts the way that she is, and you kind of peels back those layers, and then she becomes more vulnerable and compassionate, and you're like, okay, like now I see why she is the way she is, which is really cool. Like, that's another reason why I really like her.
Well, one thing I also love about it is it's so diverse. What's it like being on set?
On set, oh my gosh, it's the most incredible experience. Like, we are so lucky because we all get along so well. Like, there was no drama, none of that. And even though, like, I'm from the East Coast and they're all from the West Coast and Max has lived in, like, 20 different places, we all got along so well. And, like, the cast and crew and everything, like, it's not just the actors, you know?
Well, tell us your favorite thing about Jay.
I really enjoy that I really enjoy just him being from a small town. He really makes his own imaginative world and lives in his own bubble and really makes the best out of being from a boring Midwest town. No offense to the Midwest. I love it out there. But
I'm offended. How dare you?
But yeah, and also he really enjoys combat sports, and I do as well. I've been training mixed martial arts from a young age, and so we have that in common for sure.
Well, was there anything that you got to put into Jay that maybe wasn't necessarily on the page, but something that you said, this is what I want him to be like?
I think for the most part, it was a collaborative process between the writers and me, and just sort of bounce some things off that I can't specifically remember. The lines I don't really retain, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of moments where I thought he would say this instead of that, and we would collaborate on that, and either I'd get to do it or not get to do it. But yeah, there's definitely little mannerisms that I didn't really intend on doing, because I believe acting is being, and when I'm in that moment, in that flow state, I'm not really paying attention to anything. It just goes, you know?
Well, I absolutely love it. I love the show. I was a huge fan of that 70s show, and I know you worked on that. What made you think, all right, let's push it forward to the next generation?
Look, the 90s were a formative decade for me. And actually, when I was doing my research on the 90s, before I started writing, listening to the music, reading sort of about 90s history, there's just so much there to explore culturally and musically, and for me, emotionally.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's the decade where I got in my car at 4 o'clock in the morning in New Jersey and drove by myself to Los Angeles to like chase a dream.
Wow.
So there's just so much emotion for me associated with the decade that it was, of course, it was a natural.
It was natural.
Yeah.
So what kind of, did you learn anything new about the 90s that you didn't know?
I guess that's an interesting question. Of course. I mean, there's always something to learn. You know, the perspective that we have now, looking back, your eyes are open to all kinds of different things that were happening that you didn't realize were happening maybe at the time. I wouldn't say anything specific, but it was just, you know, look, this is a comedy show, so we like to veer up against issues and experiences that were happening to people in the 90s, but at the same time, we have to tell the stories for a modern audience.
Right.
So it's striking a balance in the storytelling that we were just, you know, we were trying to do.
Well, of course, with Pride, we love our LGBTQ stories, and I know that you had a formative hand in writing the episode, the coming out episode. We got to speak with Ren about it, and he was so proud and so happy. What was it like to be able to do that, to know that you were going to be able to put this episode that was so personal to you out to the world?
It was one of the ideas that, you know, almost as soon as that character came to me, based on somebody I know, I thought, oh, there's a really sweet story there. And one of the, I didn't have that experience personally, but one of our writers came of age in the 90s and had a very personal experience. So there were a lot of conversations with her about exactly what that felt like and how times were different then. And so we really, in the writers' room, did a lot of listening and let her take the lead on that one. And the story, I think, feels really authentic. And I've had crew members, come over to me and say, that was a special one. So
it was heartfelt, but it was also funny. It was also silly. It's all the things that situation can be in a really nice package.
Yes.
So congratulations for being able to do that.
Yeah.
What do we have to look forward to in the rest of the season?
After that episode?
Or just in general, yeah, from episode 1.
We have a lot of fun with the kids interacting with Red and Kitty, pushing Red and Kitty's perspectives on things, of course. We have a lot of fun tapping some iconic 90s pop culture, music, but really the heart of the show is the relationships of these kids. The friendship between Leia and Gwen as a central thing was always really important to me. You know, and some teenage drama, of course, mixed in. Yeah.
The best.
Yeah.